I would gladly throw a word into cancel culture. I'd just drop it all together if I could. It's actually this word. You might be surprised that I'm choosing this word. Homeschool. Why? Because I think this word is one of those tricky little words. It's a compound word that sneaks into, especially for our homeschool mom lives, it's a compound word that really tries to bring school to home. Now, hear me out. Even with the best of intentions, when we bring school into our home, it rarely works out the way we imagine, and it definitely doesn't look like a school. If we haven't already met, I'm Teresa. I am the graduated homeschool mom turned certified life coach, and I support homeschool moms to shed what's not working so they can live and lead their homeschool families with clarity and confidence aligned from the inside out. I've been there. I've been in the place for the first 3 or 4 years where I was trying to bring a school into my home. I love the idea of school at home. The planning schedules, doing 15-minute Charlotte Mason shifts. Somewhere I got this idea from Charlotte Mason's methods, maybe Susan Macaulay Schaefer's books, that I could shift things every 15 minutes. And that sounded like a great idea because then I could do more subjects in a day. And even incorporating classical elements, which I learned through the well-trained mind. I loved all of these things. I really did. I was excited to put them all into practice. But here's my real truth. I didn't enjoy doing it with my kids. I thought it was fabulous that we could do it, but it didn't take very long for me to discover that it was very difficult to create this classical Charlotte Mason home school in my home. Raise your hand if you too are in this space where you're trying to bring school into home, or if you've ever felt that way. I can feel the nodding as you're listening. If our goal is to create freedom, which it often is as homeschool moms, or to create an individualized education for our children, or enable mastery in a variety of subjects, then we have to give our kids space, which means not playing school at home as often as we'd like. Here are some things that I see, the differences between home and school, that really make home different than school. We don't have roll call, unless, of course, you forget your child's name and you say something like I did, Hamareitza, which became a name combining all 4 of my kids. And yeah, I'm guilty. There were no dress codes, unless you count pajamas or mismatched pants, or pants that were probably 3 or 4 inches higher than the kids' ankles. There weren't extracurriculars after dinner with school kids, unless you really wanted to sign up for that. There were no official grades or tests in our homeschool, unless the kids thought that sounded fun. And invariably, someone will ask for a grade, someone will ask for a test. There were no textbooks required, unless, of course, a child requests them. There are so many other ways to learn outside of textbooks. But in schools, conventionally, there's a lot of textbooks. There's no water fountains or gross bathrooms. Actually, maybe there are. There are no water fountains, but sometimes there are gross bathrooms. There's no strict period shifts between subjects. Instead, you get to follow rabbit trails. You get to follow your curiosity and theirs. There's no recess, unless you call trampoline breaks or dog walks recess. There's no time wasted on subjects that your child or you have no time for. Can you relate to this conversation? Comment yes in the comments down below if you recognize that you're doing school at home or trying to line it towards home. What I see, and if you are, by the way, you might get an F on your report card. Not really. You don't get an F. It's just instinct for us as homeschool moms. We want to do the very best for our kids. We've been taught a certain way about what education looks like and how it must happen within a home or any way whatsoever. It is what most people are doing. So we can't actually think outside the box until there comes a moment in our family's life where we realize that the way we're teaching or what we're offering them or how we're doing things isn't working for them. And, really, we don't have to wait until that happens with our kids, because we can look at our own conventional education and ask ourselves, did it serve us? Was it really serving us? So if you identify that you're doing school at home, I'm curious, how is it making you feel? How is it working for you? I know from both experience and walking with other women in coaching, the experience is often overwhelmed if they're trying to do things rigidly, trying to create a school at home. Honestly, I loved planning it. I was great at it. I loved following schedules. I still do. I loved learning in home education methods, or all the methods. I love hearing about so many methods. I've learned about Montessori and Waldorf, which some might not say is home education, but I've learned about them, and I've learned about Charlotte Mason and unschooling, and obviously classical homeschooling, and many other variety of methods. And I've loved learning about them, and I've loved learning about learning theory, but in practical reality, it didn't work to bring school to home. Well, actually, it kind of worked for one kiddo. That's the truth. This one kiddo who I saw was compliant, the kind of child who actually liked having her own daytimer with fancy colors, and she really did want a routine. She asked for one. She wanted to check off boxes. But as a grown adult now, she even shared with me not very long ago, she said that there was too much structure. I expected too much narration at certain points. And she actually looked like the kiddo to me that was doing just fine with it. Now, not too long ago, maybe it was just a few days ago, she said to me, the advantage of homeschool learning was that you actually had time to learn things, to go deep in things, and to do it at your own flow. So really understanding all the things, building up this big, broad understanding around a variety of topics and subjects, and really deep diving in them, or some will say mastering them. It wasn't a contrived learning schedule. Once I stopped trying to force school at home, the emotional dynamic of the home shifted. Learning became more interesting instead of a forced routine. I was more flexible, including a variety of topics that I wasn't initially planning in that day. My kids were obviously more happy and able to do things that they wanted to do more often. They had more freedom to explore. We had more time to do extracurriculars that they wanted to do. And I thrived because I stopped pretending to be a classroom teacher in my living room. If this resonates, type a heart in the comments below. I see you. I definitely get you. Your home doesn't need to be a school. You don't need to recreate a classroom to give your kids a meaningful education. You can do deep dives in very conventional ways and approaches and still create a remarkable education for your kids. You just need a home where curiosity and freedom and a spirit of living a purposeful life all combine. Think of your home as a space for connection, which of course it should be, shouldn't it? A space where people are being nourished or nurtured, where they're growing. And it's not about conventional school standards. It's not about doing things similarly in your living room as you might see in a school. Tell me in the comments, what's the one thing in your home that makes learning fun and feels different than school? I'd love to hear. If you are a homeschool mom and sometimes feel overwhelmed by the pressures of this homeschool life, I created a quick 5-minute overwhelm homeschool quiz. It's discover your source of overwhelm in your homeschool. That's what I called it. It helps you identify the hidden roots of your stress and discover which areas of your homeschool life need the most attention right now. So you'll find that link below. It's a green and blue graphic. And just click the link to the post, and that's when you're going to discover what's really going on up here, so you can overcome this overwhelm and enjoy your homeschool better. So drop a comment if you're going to take the quiz today. I'd love to hear your first impressions. There have been about maybe 30 or 40 people already that signed up, and I've only released it in the last 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks. And it's comprehensive. It's not just a simple styled quiz. It actually really does give you a lot of ideas of how you can approach things differently, what you actually need to do or what you could do as a next step. I want you to feel supported. I want you to feel like you can do this homeschool year without overwhelm, that you can do it. You can lead your homeschool family with confidence and clarity from an alignment that comes from within. And you can see that alignment outside in your kitchen. You can see the alignment in the way you choose activities with your kids, or the extracurriculars that you choose, or the things you do for yourself. You see the alignment because what you're doing is doing something on purpose. You're living your homeschool mom life on purpose. So I hope this quiz is helpful for you. And thanks for joining me today in the Homeschool Mama Support Group on Facebook. I'll see you next week. And don't forget to homeschool with intention, not with school at home. Have a beautiful week.